Shabbat Shalom. We begin our worship on page 128 with Ma Yafeh Hayom. How lovely today is. Shabbat Shalom.
Ma Yafeh Hayom, Shabbat Shalom. Ma Yafeh Hayom, Shabbat Shalom. Shabbat, Shabbat Shalom. Shabbat, Shabbat Shalom. Shabbat, Shabbat Shalom. Shabbat Shalom. Ma Yafeh Hayom, Shabbat Shalom. Ma Yafeh Hayom, Shabbat Shalom. Shabbat, Shabbat Shalom. Shabbat, Shabbat Shalom. Shabbat, Shabbat Shalom. Shabbat Shalom. We continue now with Romemu in the middle of page 135. Romemu Adonai Eloheinu ve'ishtachavu lehar kodsho. Romemu Adonai Eloheinu ve'ishtachavu lehar kodsho. Ki kadosh Adonai Eloheinu romemu. Ki kadosh Adonai Eloheinu romemu. Romemu Adonai Eloheinu ve'ishtachavu lehar kodsho. Romemu Adonai Eloheinu ve'ishtachavu lehar kodsho. Ki kadosh Adonai Eloheinu romemu. Ki kadosh Adonai Eloheinu romemu. Romemu Adonai Eloheinu ve'ishtachavu lehar kodsho. Romemu Adonai Eloheinu ve'ishtachavu lehar kodsho. Please join me now in Lecha Dodi as we welcome the Sabbath bride on pages 138 and 139. Lecha Dodi likrat kala b'nei Shabbat nekabela. Lecha Dodi
And we now continue with the lighting of the Shabbat candles.
As these Shabbat candles give light to all who behold them, so may we, by our lives, give light to all who behold us, as their brightness reminds us of the generations of Israel who have kindled light, so may we in our own day be among those who kindle light. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, asher kitshanu b'mitzvotav v'tzivanu lehadlik ner shel Shabbat.
We continue on page 125. Where has this week vanished? Is it lost forever? Will I ever recover anything from it? The joy of life, the unexpected victory, the realized hope, the task accomplished? Will I ever be able to banish the memory of pain, the sting of defeat, the heaviness of boredom? On this day, let me keep for a while what must drift away. On this day, let me be free of the burdens that must return. On this day, Shabbat abide. Help me to withdraw for a while from the flight of time, contain the retreat of the hours and days from the grasp of frantic life. Let me learn to pause, if only for this day. Let me find peace on this day. Let me enter into a quiet world this day. On this day, Shabbat abide.
Continue now on page 144. Yitkadal veyitkadash shmei Rabbah.
Amen.
Be'alma divrach hirutei v'yamlich malchutei.
B'chayechon ufyomechon ufchayei dechol Beit Yisrael. Bagala uvizman kariv.
Veimeru, Amen. Yehei Shmei Rabbah mevorach, le'olam ul'olmei almaya, yitbarach, yitbarach ve'yishtabach, v'yitpa'ar v'yitromam ve'yitnaseh, ve'yitadar ve'yitale ve'yitalal, Shemei dekudsha b'richu. Le'ela min kol birchata v'shirata, tushbechata v'nechemata, damiran be'alma, v'imeru, Amen.
We continue with Baruch Hu, our call to worship on page 146. Please rise if you are able. Page 148. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, asher bidvaro ma'ariv aravim, v'chokhmah poteach she'arim, uvitfuna meshane itim, umachalif et hazmanim, umisader et hakochavim, v'mishmerotehem barakir kirtzono. Borei yom v'layla, golel or mipnei choshech, v'choshech mipnei or, uma'avir yom umevi layla, umavdil ben yom uven layla, Adonai tzavaot shemo, el chai v'kayam tamid imloch aleinu leolam va'ed, baruch atah Adonai, hama'ariv aravim. Page 150.
Ahavat olam beit Yisrael, amcha ahavta, Torah u'mitzvot, chukim u'mishpatim, otanu limadeta. Al ken Adonai Eloheinu, b'shochbeinu v'kumeinu, nasiach b'chukecha, v'nismach b'divrei Toratcha, u'b'mitzvotecha, le'olam, le'olam va'ed. Ahavat olam beit Yisrael, amcha ahavta, Torah u'mitzvot, chukim u'mishpatim, otanu limadeta. Ki hem chayenu ve'orech yameinu, uvahem neged yomam v'layla, ve'ahavatcha al tasir mimenu le'olamim, le'olamim. Ahavat olam beit Yisrael, amcha ahavta, Torah u'mitzvot, chukim u'mishpatim, otanu limadeta. Baruch atah Adonai, ohev amo Yisrael, ohev amo Yisrael. Ahavat olam beit Yisrael, amcha ahavta, Torah u'mitzvot, chukim u'mishpatim, otanu limadeta.
So invite us to take a deep breath in and exhale out. Take another deep breath in as we breathe in that sense of Shabbat. And exhale out, Mishagas. Another deep breath in as we breathe in that sense of shalom, of wholeness and completeness. And exhale out all that negative energy within us.
Open up our eyes, teach us how to live, fill our hearts with joy and all the love you have to give. את אדוני אלוהיך בכל לבבך ובכל נפשך ובכל מאודך, והיו הדברים האלה אשר אנוכי מצווך היום על לבביך, ושיננתם לבניך ודיברת בם בשבתך בביתך ובלכתך בדרך ובשוכבך ובקומך, וקשרתם לאות על ידיך, והיו לטוטפות בין עיניך, וכתבתם על מזוזות ביתך ובשעריך, למען תזכרו ועשיתם את כל מצוותי, והייתם קדושים לאלוהיכם. אני אדוני אלוהיכם, אשר הוצאתי אתכם מארץ מצרים, להיות לכם לאלוהים. אני אדוני אלוהיכם. Together on page 155. Love your God with every heartbeat, with every breath, with every conscious act. Keep in mind the words I command you today. Teach them to your children. Talk about them at work. Whether you are tired or you are rested, let them guide the work of your hands. Keep them in the forefront of your vision. Do not leave them at the doorway of your house or outside your gate. They are reminders to do all of my mitzvot, so that you can be holy for God. I am Adonai, your God. I led you out of Egypt to become your God. I am Adonai, your God.
We continue on page 157. Standing on the parted shores of history, we still believe what we were taught before ever we stood at Sinai's foot, that wherever we go, it is eternally Egypt, that there is a better place, a promised land, that the winding way to that promise passes through the wilderness, that there is no way to get from here to there except by joining hands, marching together. We continue on page 158 with Mi Chamocha. We continue on page 162 with Vishamru.
השמיים ואת הארץ, ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת, לעשות את השבת לדורותם ברית עולם. וביום השביעי שבת וינפש, ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת, לעשות את השבת לדורותם ברית עולם, לדורותם ברית עולם.
We are a people in whom the past endures, in whom the present is inconceivable without moments gone by. The Exodus lasted a moment enduring forever. What happened once upon a time happens all the time. We continue now with the central portion of our worship with our tefillah. Please rise if you are able.
Adonai sefatai tiftach ufi yagi tehilatecha. Adonai, open up my lips that my mouth may declare your praise. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu ve'Elohei avoteinu ve'imotenu, Elohei Avraham, Elohei Yitzchak, ve'Elohei Yaakov, Elohei Sarah, Elohei Rivka, Elohei Rachel, ve'Elohei Leah, Ha'el Hagadol, Hagibor ve'Hanora, El Elyon, Gomel Chasadim Tovim, ve'Koneh Hakol, וזוכר חסדי אבות ואימהות, ומביא גאולה לבני בניהם, למען שמו באהבה, מלך עוזר ומושיע ומגן. ברוך אתה אדוני, מגן אברהם בעזרת שרה. אתה גיבור לעולם אדוני, מחיי הכל אתה רב להושיע, משיב הרוח ומוריד הגשם, מכלכל חיים בחסד, מחיי הכל ברחמים רבים, סומך נופלים ורופא חולים, ומתיר אסורים, ומקיים אמונתו, לשני עפר. מי כמוך בעל גבורות, ומיתו מלך, מלך ממית ומחיה, ומצמיח ישועה, ונאמן אתה להחיות הכל. ברוך אתה אדוני, מחיי הכל. אתה קדוש ושמך קדוש, וקדושים בכל יום יהללוך סלה. ברוך אתה אדוני, האל הקדוש.
Days pass and the years vanish, and we walk sightless among miracles. God, fill our eyes with seeing and our minds with knowing. Let there be moments when your presence, like lightning, illumines the darkness in which we walk. Help us to see wherever we gaze that the bush burns unconsumed, and we, clay touched by God, will reach out for holiness and exclaim in wonder, how filled with awe is this place, and we did not know it. Blessed is the Eternal One, the Holy God. Page 173. We join together. May these hours of rest and renewal open our hearts to joy and our minds to truth. May all who struggle find rest on this day. May all who suffer find solace. May all who hurt find healing on this day. May all who despair find purpose. May all who hunger find fulfillment on this day. And may this day fulfill its promise. Baruch atah Adonai mekadesh ha-Shabbat. Page 175 on the bottom of the page. You are with us in our prayer, our love, and our doubt, and our longing to feel your presence and do your will. You are the still, clear voice within us. Therefore, O God, when doubt troubles us, when anxiety makes us tremble, when pain clouds the mind, we look inward for the answer to our prayers. There may we find you, and there find courage, insight, and endurance. And let our worship bring us closer to one another, that all Israel and all who seek you may find new strength for your service. Baruch atah Adonai, she'otcha levadcha bi'irah na'avod. Page 177. God of goodness, we give thanks for the gift of life, wonder beyond words, for the awareness of soul, our light within, for the world around us so filled with beauty, for the richness of the earth which day by day sustains us. For all these and more, we offer thanks. Baruch atah Adonai, hatov shimcha lacher na'eh lehodot.
Shalom Rav, Shalom Rav, Shalom Rav, Al Yisrael Amcha. Shalom Rav, Shalom Rav, Al Yisrael Amcha, Tasim Leolam. Shalom Rav. Ki ata u'melech Adon lechol hashalom. Ki ata u'melech Adon, melech Adon lechol hashalom. Shalom Rav, Shalom Rav, Shalom Rav, Al Yisrael Amcha. Shalom Rav, Shalom Rav, Al Yisrael Amcha, Tasim Leolam. V'tov beinecha levarech et amcha Yisrael bechol עת ובכל שעה בשלומך, בשלומך. Shalom Rav, Shalom Rav, Shalom Rav, Al Yisrael Amcha. Shalom Rav, Shalom Rav, Al Yisrael Amcha, Tasim Leolam. Shalom Rav.
I invite us now to take a deep breath in and exhale out as we now reflect on that makor shalom, that source of peace that lies within each one of us, as we pause now in silent reflection.
Nikion libi lefanecha Adonai tzuri Adonai tzuri Vekoali
We now focus our energies toward those who are ill and in need of healing. We now focus our energies toward those who are ill and in need of healing. On this Shabbat, we think of Sally Amarendez, Chana Bat Miriam, Eliana Bat Chana, Robert Berg, Mort Berlant, Dr. Arnold Berliner, Sarah Beinstock, Sandy Beinstock, Rich Burns, Esther Burton, Bob Cant, Nicole Chapman, Hadley Crane, Zachary Eldridge, Jason Fishoff, Carolyn Franklin, Barbara Fiedman, Holly Fugit, Betty Garcia, Mary Gold, Jennifer Guerrera, Courtney Hansen, Linda Harris, Dr. Gary Height, Lee Henderson, Barbara Jackowitz, Linda Johnson, Mimi Jones, Selma Karcham, Evan Krieger, Evelyn Katz-McCosker, Liatzvia Batliba Elchanan, Janice Lucero, Young Sung Lot, Carol Lerner, Shirley Lerner, Gary Levine, Penny Levine, Litia Leos, Bobby Lotman, Austin Lucero, Nancy Markham, Eva Misley, Brad Parkins, Linda Rogers, Ben Rubin, Marilyn Rudy, Dolores Sams Hoy, Gary Sanders, Laura Sanders, Gordon Schneiderman, Judy Siegel, Donna Shine, Sybil Summer, Roberta Stivelman, Donna Thyman, Pham Tai Trang, Gina Thrower, Teresa Walsh, Claire Cecil Watson, Rosanna Wershing, Jeannie Watson, Nancy Weisenfeld, Karen Williams, Sue Witten, Sherman Wong, and everyone who is suffering from coronavirus. We continue now with the word of Torah. We are born, so the Mishnah says, into the world against our will. No one consulted us before our arrival, and we were born into a world that had already benefited and suffered because of the choices that other people have already made for us. where our parents lived, their income compatibility, whether we had a roof over our heads, beds to sleep in at night, and a full stomach every evening were all important questions that we never chose for ourselves. The idea that our world and our options are already shaped and constrained by the decisions that others have made runs counter to the American insistence that a rugged individual can control his or her own destiny. While there is certainly a great deal that individual initiative can accomplish, there is also a larger context that is not of our own doing. We are dependent on the foresight of those who have preceded us, just as our children will face the consequences of the choices we make or postpone today. This week's Torah portion, Terumah, from the book of Exodus, portrays the interconnection of the generations in a vivid way. As the Israelites are wandering through the wilderness of Sinai, God instructs them to gather material to build the Mishkan, the portable tabernacle. Among the ingredients are to be found gold and silver and brass and blue and purple and scarlet yarn and fine linen and goat's hair and skins of rams dyed red and skins of seals and acacia wood. Each of these supplies is subjected to rabbinic scrutiny, and there is much written on them. But of all the supplies, none evokes such surprise as the atzei shittim, the acacia wood. In his commentary, Rashi asks, from where did they obtain this in the wilderness? After all, there are no acacia trees in the desert. How could God expect the Israelites to have access to this kind of lumber? Rashi then quotes an answer from Midrash Tanchuma, which was written 4th century CE in Israel. Rabbi Tanchuma explained, our father Jacob foresaw by means of the Holy Spirit that Israel was destined to build a tabernacle in the wilderness. So he brought cedars to Egypt and planted them and commanded his children to take them with them when they would leave Egypt. The kind of foresight that our ancestor Jacob showed, according to this answer, is one of anticipating the needs of a future generation and then going out of his way to provide for those needs. He had no requirement for acacia wood, nor did he have any benefit from them. To the contrary, it must have seemed an unnecessary burden to his contemporaries. Yet Jacob knew that his descendants would need it, so he went out of his way to provide it for them. Such foresight is so treasured that the Midrash attributes it to the divine inspiration, Ruach HaKodesh, literally the Spirit of the Holy. Whether we buy this story literally or not is actually irrelevant. The question is, how do we relate to this? In our own age, two parallels seem clear. If our generation does not provide for the care of the planet and all its inhabitants, then we will call into question the survivability of human life on Earth. Just take a look at what we have done these last few decades to our planet. Like Jacob, we must measure our actions and our choices by their consequences 7 generations in the future, not by the yardstick of short-term comfort, but of long-term habitability. Jacob planted the trees that his children would need 400 years later. How will our choices shape our descendants' lives in 400 years? Will our choices today leave them with greater bounty and freedom, or with constricted possibilities and compromised health? So far, our choices as a society have not been as thoughtful towards our environment as they needed to be. But Judaism provides the second forum where foresight is needed. Our children can only inherit what we ourselves possess. If we do not plant trees of living Jewish experience and passion now, they will not have the memories, values, or guidance to fall back on later in life. Our own Jewish fidelity today will establish the Jewish possibilities for tomorrow. As with our ancestor Jacob, We too can rely on the Ruach HaKodesh, the divine inspiration, as a source of insight. But then we must translate that insight into action. Tomorrow begins the moment today is finished, and the work we do will shape our children's tomorrows. We live in a society, my friends, that forgets consistently and often that our actions impact the future of our generations and of the planet. We're way too focused on ourselves and on our immediate needs, but we abdicate our responsibility. What the rabbis teach concerning Jacob anticipating the needs of a future generation is not just storytelling. It is a lesson, an opportunity for each of us to be Jacob, to see the world not just through our personal lenses, but toward the future. How does our actions impact the future? And when, given the opportunity to be selfless, to think of those future generations, do we? Do we really care for the future, or do we just say that? It is time to put our mouths and actions to the test. When we have the opportunity to be a part of our green team's actions, will we participate or just watch? When we see a need that would make us better for the future, do we speak up in a healthy and loving manner, or do we just complain to those that will listen? When we have the chance to plant acacia trees, will we, or will we wait for another to do it? As Reformed Jews, my friends, we are about action. We do not like to talk about it before we do it. Or I should say, we do like to talk about it before we do it. But we really ultimately are about doing it. I invite you, as you consider your truma, your gift, to view it not just within yourself or your family, but view it in the light of the future. How can our gifts make this world a better place in the future? How can we contribute to the betterment of our society and the future of our generations? This is the true challenge before us. Ken Yehi Ratzon, may this be God's will, but may this be our action.
We are gifts and we are blessings. We are history in song. We are hope and we are healing. We are learning to be strong. We are words and we are stories. We are pictures of the past. We are carriers of wisdom, not the first and not the last. Ledor vador, nagid god lecha. Ledor vador, we protect this chain from generation to generation. Ledor vador, these lips will praise your name. Looking back on the journey that we carry in our heart, from the shadow of the mountain to the waters that would part. We are blessed and we are holy. We are children of לדור ודור נגיד גודלך. לדור ודור we protect this chain from generation to generation. Lidor vador, these lips will praise your name.
We continue with Elena on page 586. Please rise if you're able.
עלינו לשבח לאדון הכל, לתת גדולה ליוצר בראשית, שהוא נוטה שמיים ויוסר הארץ, ומושב יקרו בשמיים ממעל. ושכינת זו בגופי מרומים, הוא אלוהינו אין עוד. ואנחנו קוראים ומשתחווים ומודים לפני מלך מלכי המלכים, הקדוש ברוך הוא. ונאמר והיה אדוני למלך על כל הארץ, ביום ההוא יהיה אדוני אחד, ושמו אחד.
We now come to the moment in our service when we think about members of our family and our community who have died recently and in years past. On this Shabbat, we're mindful of those that are grieving Shiva, the first week of mourning, for David Reiser, dear friend Margie Blickman. We also think of those that are grieving the Shloshim, the 30-day period of mourning for Janet Katz, Henry Wild Sr., Marianne Suni Levin. We also think of those that are grieving the Shana, the first year mourning, for Gary Acknan, Marion Bergothen, Tony Berliner, Raymond Berman, Idel Kagan, Dory Cohen, Rabbi Sissy Corin, Rebecca Lindecker, Benny Schumann Donald, Vladimir Doktorovich, Beverly Furman, Ruth Bader Ginsburg, Helen Marchuk Goldman, Bernice Green, Bob Hirsch, Jerry Kane, Rita Kane, Father Bill Leninger, Michael Lubin, David Dudi Messinger, Richard Pascoe, Cami Resnick, Curtis Lee Robinson, Edith Robinson, Rabbi Kenneth Roseman, Laura Marie Rosen, Lois Rosette, Boris Supak, Ruth Silen, Francis Singer, B. Chandler Shaw, Greg Stiller, Joel Strauss, Gunther Vogler, Carol Wachtenheim. We also think of the following yahrzeits that we observe on this Shabbat as we think of Lillian R. Ackerman, Ann Altman, Bessie Ball, Bernice Blaustein, Samuel Blaustein, Molly Bloomstein, Mae Brash, Robert Brody, Betty Burton, Sissy Carl, Clara Cohen, Joshua Cohen, Sidney B. Davis, Sandy Davis, Alice Emmerich, Joseph Garshon, Maurice Baruch Gluckman, Joseph Gordon, Helene Graff, Rose Greenberg, Shirley Ash Handloff, Irma Hartfield, Lena Jaffe, Abraham Katz, Yetta Konitz, George Koster, Flossie Crandell, Bob Crandell, Ruben Kulikovsky, Violet Landers, Theodore Levin, Herbert Lee, Shirley Levin, Sylvia Lurie, Joseph Lutvak, Anna McDonald, Benjamin Marcus, Francis Yetta Meyerson, Harry Miller, David Mintz, Sam Mincer, Joseph Newman, Isaac Oppenheimer, Faye Pagnalian, Sandra Plavin, Mildred Portner, Mela S. Rauer, Howard Rech, George Rittenberg, Isidore Rosenthal, Helene Rutansky, Pearl Schneiderman, Manon S. Shields, Noah Shipman, Davine Sklar, Sid Silverman, Lee Robert Silverman, Ann Sokolow, Bernie Stern, Leonard Taylor, Molly Thaler, Phil Torin, Tilly Unger, Alan Weinstein, Ray Wolf, Sophia Yampolsky. Zichronam livracha, may all the memories of our loved ones endure as a blessing as we continue with Mourner's Kaddish.
יתגדל ויתקדש שמי רבה, בעלמא דברה חירותי והמליך מלכותי, בחייכון וביומכון ובחיי דכל בית ישראל, בעגלה וזמן קריב אמרו אמן. יהי שמי רבה מבורך לעולם עולמי עלמיה, יתברך וישתבח ויתפאר ותרומם ויתנשא, ויתהדר ויתעלה ויתהלל שמי דקודשה ברכו. לעולם מכל ברכתה ושירתה, תושבחתה ונחמתה, דאמירן בעלמה ואמרו אמן. יהי שלמה רבה משמיה וחיים עלינו וכל ישראל, ואמרו אמן. עושה שלום במרומיו, הוא יעשה שלום עלינו וכל ישראל, ואמרו אמן.
שבת המלכה, החממה ראש האילנות נסתלקה, בואו ונצא לקראת שבת המלכה. בואי כלה, בואי כלה, בואי כלה, בואי כלה. החממה ראש האילנות נסתלקה, בואו ונצא לקראת שבת המלכה. החממה ראש האילנות נסתלקה, בואו ונצא לקראת שבת המלכה. הנה היא יורדת הקדושה, הברוכה, ועמה מלאכים, צבא שלום ומנוחה. בואי כלה, בואי כלה, בואי כלה, בואי כלה. החממה ראש האילנות נסתלקה, בואו ונצא לקראת שבת המלכה. החממה ראש האילנות נסתלקה, בואו ונצא לקראת שבת שלום ומנוחה. מראש האילנות נסתלקה, בואו ונצא לקראת שבת המלכה. חכמה מראש האילנות נסתלקה, בואו ונצא לקראת שבת המלכה. חכמה מראש האילנות נסתלקה, בואו ונצא לקראת שבת המלכה.
Shabbat Shalom. My name is Steve Crandell, and I'm president of Temple Emanu-El's Board of Trustees. It gives me great pleasure to welcome you to our streaming Erev Shabbat services. This is a packed week. This Sunday, travel with us on our final virtual tour of Israel at 10 a.m. On Monday at 7 p.m., start off your Purim week with I Cannot Tell a Lie, a zigzag happy hour celebrating George Washington's birthday. On Tuesday, February 23rd, join Rabbi for his weekly chat at noon. On Wednesday, have your lunch and learn with the Rabbi at noon. That evening at 7 p.m. is the kickoff of our new Grown and Flown Parents Group for parents of teens and young adults ages 16 through their 20s. On Thursday, February 25th at noon, the movie discussion will be about the film Munich. Thursday night, don't forget to celebrate Purim. By then, you should have received your Purim in a box to help you join the fun at 6 p.m. for our special Erev Purim Trivia Night. A special thank you to our delivery team and our confirmation class for packing them up. Next Friday, our Kabbalat Shabbat service is live on Zoom and will begin at 6:30 p.m. Don't forget to visit the website where you can register for Shirley Lee's wonderful Jews of Lithuania series, which begins on February 28th. Wishing you a healthy and tranquil week. Shabbat Shalom.